Hey, this is me building a $3 million per year business in public. The way these videos work is I start with some Q&A where I answer all your guys' questions, give you immediate value. Then I do some growth stats where I show you guys my growth over the course of the last 24 hours. Then finally, I round it out with some live strategies so you guys could see exactly what I'm working on. My main channel is at 112,000 subs. This is my daily updates channel at 5,738. What I do is I just scroll all the way down to the very bottom of this giant, long list of thousands of questions that I should definitely be getting through. Then I answer the last one. Stick until the end always feels like being in a loyal relationship. Thank you, man. Awesome. We got a ton of questions over here. CEO Whisper says, I'm so reluctant to pick a niche even after your niche videos. Maybe because I have one shot and I have no capital left other than the first month. What can I do? And what payment processor would you use if you're in a country without Stripe? With a variety of payment processors you can use. I don't know exactly which one I would use, to be honest, if I were in your shoes. No, I don't know what country you're in, but I know a lot of people in like Southeast Asia, they tend to use platforms like Payoneer. There are a couple of like Middle Eastern, MENA specific platforms as well. And then in the EU, there's also, there's like a whole smattering of ones in the EU, but I think you can typically get away with Stripe in the European Union as well. So this is really going to depend on where you are specifically. I would definitely go for Stripe 9 out of 10 times. Okay. And then this lovely person actually started clipping my channel. And then he actually went as far as running one called Nick Saraev Q&A over here, where they have, me answering questions just in a little bit shorter form, which I think is just so dope, man. Massive repurpose potential. Believe it or not, you're actually the main reason why I just fixed my OBS and I set up my new computer. I was putting off setting up my new computer for quite a while because now I get to record a face stream, which is like full 1080p or whatever with just my face, while also recording a screen share stream. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this whole face cam thing on WAP, and then I'm going to allow people to clip my full face, put it in one of those like, vertical videos, and ultimately just get significantly higher quality out of it. So thank you very much for showing me that stuff like this is possible. Yeah, I really, really appreciate it. I'm just going to give this a heart here because I think you posted this a few times. You Run Andrew says, Yo, Nick, I was sondering. How come you don't use Google's Gemini API for generating large volumes of cold emails? I see they're a lot more affordable than OpenAI's models. Google also improved their AI models. They should have the same or even better performance than OpenAI's models. Have a nice day. Yeah, it's a great question. The main reason why I don't use Gemini for stuff is I just find user experience-wise it's a little bit worse. And then also, tokens for generating cold email icebreakers is not my current bottleneck. There are many bottlenecks that I would face first before, worrying about like token cost, essentially. So just brainstorming out loud here. Like if the average icebreaker automation takes me, I don't know, like let's say 500 tokens or something, which is quite a lot, to be honest, probably less than 500 tokens. But let's just say it's 500 tokens, then I get to generate 200, I believe, 2,000 before I run into 1 million tokens. 1 million tokens is $2. So it's quite a bit, 2,000 icebreakers, that's 2,000 leads. How many emails do you really send a day? Even if I'm doing $2 a day, that's very, very little in the grand scheme of things. I'm totally okay spending that. I'm not really worrying about architecture changes because the friction involved in me swapping platforms is going to be higher than whatever marginal gain I make. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, no, what's wrong with the Samsung? Oh yeah, I swapped from the Samsung Q2U to this little really, really useful Bluetooth mic the other day. Just super useful. Bro, switching a spot every day. Yeah, I was. That was me in Banff, actually. Beautiful city/town. An hour and a half out of Calgary. One of the most prized places on planet Earth. Beautiful lakes, glaciers everywhere. Just gorgeous. Vishal says, did you stop writing blogs? I really loved your life improvement blogs. Let me know any update on them. Thanks. You know what? I wrote my biography a little bit more. If I go to my website, scroll all the way down. I wrote it all the way up to here. And then that was like a week and a half ago, and then I stopped it. And this was right before I was scaling to $100,000 per month, like in the biography. So I will be going past this and then talking all about how I scaled to $300,000 a month and then became the school #1 and all that fun stuff. Just need to find some time. Today was pretty crazy with all the fires and admin, but I'll tell you about that later. Steve says, hey Nick, I'm Steve, the one who's targeting interior designers, architects, niche for glass art pieces installations. I can't seem to send you the copy of the emails. I don't know why. I've tried sending them out in the comments, but then it gets deleted automatically. How can I reach out to you regarding this? I've sent you a message on LinkedIn as well. Would love to know what you think. Interesting. So for context, Steve reached out to me saying, hey, I'm targeting interior designers and architects. I have some copy, and do you mind looking over the copy? And I said, yeah, absolutely. Would you mind posting it on the daily updates channel? I'll have a look, and then I'll actually get to roast you live in front of hundreds, if not thousands of people. 5,000 people now. I guess he tried it, and then for whatever reason, it was deleted automatically. That sucks. Did he like upload it on a link or something, man? maybe like a Google Doc or Google Drive link. I mean, just send it to me over email, and then yeah, maybe I'll like do a roast or something. Fast. What do you think of making services for trucking businesses? I think that they're reasonably low margin, they're pretty high complexity, and I probably would not do AI implementation services for trucking businesses. Aham says, hey, Nick, watching your videos become part of my daily routine. You're a dose of inspiration, especially when it comes to automation. Thank you. I have a question about Upwork. It feels like over 95% of job owners are looking to pay less while expecting high value results, particularly when the freelancer is from Middle Eastern or Asian countries. In your opinion, what can I do to truly stand out and get paid fairly, especially if I aim to work with clients in the United States and or Canada? Thanks again for the value you share. It genuinely keeps me motivated. So first of all, you are 100% right. I find a lot of Americans, people just in the West, and even like Western Europeans will, at the prospect of working with somebody in a much lower cost of living country, immediately assume that they're going to be making multiples on the leverage because your buying power is so much lower and so on and so forth. And for the most part, they make that assumption because they're right. They don't make it because they're racist or they think less of you inherently. They just look at the arbitrage available just in terms of like your cost of living versus their cost of living, and they think, well, I could probably pay them less for an equivalent service. So you are going to be fighting against that your whole way through. Okay. There's very little in the way of like concrete, aside from just leaving the country and working with people outside of that country, there's very little in the way of you entirely fixing this. You can definitely lessen it though. So there are a few things that immediately signal that you're cheap offshore labor. That's kind of how the Western companies refer to people primarily in Asia, countries like the Philippines or I don't know, like in Bangladesh, for instance, or in many parts of India. They will refer to this idea of like offshore or outsource or whatever, and they'll think that you're cheap if you usually if your rates are really low. Like let's say you're on Upwork, right, where you were talking about, and then your rate is $5.99 or something. They're immediately going to bin you into like, okay, low value work that is offshore and outsource, and they're actually going to think that your work is lower quality necessarily, which is unfortunate. And as I mentioned earlier, I don't think a lot of these people are doing it because they're like evil people. They're just like stereotyping and they're making assumptions because for 80% of the time, the assumptions hold true. So the first and biggest thing you can do immediately is just increase your rate, just to stand out. So don't be like a $5 an hour, a $10 an hour, $15 an hour freelancer. Be like a $45, $55, $65. Be competitive with people in the West. That's number one. The second is understand some of the, I would say the cultural standards of, like working with people in Western countries. They tend to be a lot blunter. They tend to be a lot more straight to the point. And they, believe it or not, at least from my perspective, they don't really like the ass kissing thing anywhere near as much as, I think a lot of other cultures do. And I say this as somebody that has employed dozens of people across the world in a variety of different countries, and currently also continuously, like today, employs over a dozen people across a bunch of countries in the world. Like there are large cultural differences about how you relate to authority and hierarchy. And a big issue that I found initially when I was hiring some people in lower cost of living countries was that they wouldn't really tell me their thoughts, and they wouldn't really be willing to they wouldn't really be willing to take some sort of agency or initiative because they were worried that by doing so, that would be off-putting to me. But the thing is, a lot of Western people, they really like that. They really love the agency and the initiative and the authority. So the number one thing that you can do here is, instead of asking for permission for everything, just do it and then later beg for forgiveness. So instead of worrying, hey, should I do this? Hey, would you like me to do this? Hey, should I start with this? Just do the thing and then let them know, hey, I had a couple of extra minutes earlier, so I actually just went and I did this thing. What do you think about it? That's the mindset shift, I would say. The second that you start doing stuff like this, people just immediately assume that you're a much higher value freelancer and a more autonomous and capable person. And I think that just like mentally that helps divorce you from that idea of an offshore or cheap outsourced labor or whatever the hell they've been you guys under. Okay. So those are really important. Obviously the first thing is just like, don't go bottom barrel piss rates. Second one is just have a lot more agency and autonomy, I would say, than you probably feel like you have to. If you think that something can be done better, then just tell the person that you think that something could be done better because of your experience. And then if it's valid and if you approach it in a non-shitty way, if you're not a total asshole, you're doing something wrong, then, odds are they're going to take it at least at face value because they want to make more money, right? Like, that's how it is. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else. Asking for raises. A lot of people will naturally, get a much lower paying job, and then they'll be like, okay, I got the job now, so now I'm going to ask for a raise. But I find in practice, you can't really ask for a raise these days. It's not like, hey, can I get paid more money? Or, hey, look at all the work that I've done. I'd like to get paid more money. The way to actually get paid more money is you just do a bunch of stuff, as I mentioned, without asking the person explicitly. You provide a bunch of value and make them a bunch of money. And then you say, hey, I want to take care of this for you on an ongoing basis. I'm happy to do it for some percentage of the upside and maybe a higher flat rate. Alternatively, you can go the Hormozy approach, which is where you actually say, hey, I want you to pay me less flat, and then I want you to give me some sort of incentive upside. I know it's going to take a little bit more work for you, so I'll actually do all the calculations on the rev share. I'll send you a spreadsheet 3 days before the billing period. All you have to do is give me a thumbs up, and then we're good to go. I'm confident that I'm going to guarantee you, like a double multiple on your investment. And if it doesn't work, worst case scenario, we go back to what we were doing before, and maybe I'll even take a pay cut. Okay, that's how much I believe in this. Like, that's the sort of gambit I think you have to do if you want to divorce yourself from that whole idea of offshore cheap labor. Hopefully that makes sense, man. Obviously, there are other things like English skills and whatnot, but I feel like we're all kind of on the same page about that. So probably doesn't have a lot of value for me just to point it out over and over and over again. But yeah, if you can get better English skills, that'll obviously help. And then, the reality is people are always going to think, people from the West, particularly like high money companies that hire predominantly in the West, they are going to think less of people, for the most part, that they hire from, lower cost of living countries. And I would be lying to you if I said that they don't. I don't. But, I've worked on Upwork for God knows how long. Man, I used to, back when I lived in the Philippines for three and a half weeks, when I applied to jobs on Upwork, people would just be like, I don't really know about this. I saw like my rate just get freaking haircutted basically immediately. I had to fight against that. Now, granted, obviously I'm Caucasian or relatively Caucasian, and I could, jump on the camera, they could see my face, and they'd be like, okay, that guy's probably just on vacation or something, which kind of undid it. But just wanted to let you know that that is entirely true. Don't use it as an excuse, but just be pragmatic about it. Because the second that you start confronting these things and being pragmatic about it, then, when you're real with them, then you can find ways to solve them, right? Okay, Aditya Singh says, hey, Nick, what other lead gen methods except the ones already mentioned here in your channel exist, which are very good? Well, I got to say, if they were very good, I would have mentioned them because I don't believe in gatekeeping the knowledge that much. There are a few more. Cold DMs, obviously, if you guys are doing the cold DMs already because you guys saw me chat about it in Maker School or maybe somewhere else on my channel, then fantastic, great work. There's some more for sure. Like there's like WhatsApp outreach. I don't really talk too much about the LinkedIn outreach, but there's like a pretty cool LinkedIn outreach strategy you could do that I'm seeing more people do, where basically they find a company and then what they do is they roast the company. This was big on Twitter a year and a half ago for design. But basically they will find some aspect of the company and then they will tag the company and they'll tag the CEO and they'll just start making posts about them being like, hey, this is a teardown of this company. These guys are awesome. I love what they do. As a professional, designer of 15 years, I just wanted to chime in with like how I would do a redesign. And then they actually go do a redesign. And then what they do is they take that post, they have some social following, which bumps it up initially. It's kind of like social selling. Bumps it up initially. They got a bunch of friends that leave comments on it being like, wow, great breakdown, whatever. Every time that somebody leaves a comment on that, the company gets pinged over and over and over again. So now you have like 20 notifications in your DMs, in your inbox. And then the person will send a DM over to you and use that. Hey, how's it going, Pete? Just wanted to reiterate, really love your stuff, man. Just wanted to drop some designs in front of you. PS, if you're curious, I also made a post with the whole roadmap and I just posted it publicly for everybody to see. Working with you is one of my biggest goals or dreams. And I really want to, really want to maximize the probability that I can do that. So a lot of people are doing that. That's pretty cool. And there are a variety of other ones. Jack Stellerman says, hey, Nick, your content has been very helpful. Wanted to ask if you're targeting a niche where it's difficult to find the email of decision makers, like certain types of local businesses. Is it worth it to send emails to the emails listed on the website, or should I choose a different niche? Your response would be greatly appreciated. Yeah, for sure. A lot of these small businesses, they do have to be pretty small, but a lot of these small businesses, they have like an info at email, and that email just routes directly to like the man or the woman in charge. So like they see it. There's usually a lot of junk that they have to wade through, but nowadays these filtering algorithms are pretty good at like sorting out the social tab and the promotions tab and whatnot. Am I going to sit here and say it's the best, most effective approach? No, you're going to get significantly lower response rates on this for sure, hands down. But is it doable? Yeah, for sure. And if it's the only data that you have, then try that data first before making some assumptions. The good news is that data is so cheap and extraordinarily easy to get. I mean, you literally just pump a search term into the Google SERP. I recorded a video on this just a while ago on N8N where I literally showed how to do this. You pump a search term into the Google SERP. You have 500 results or whatever, and you can paginate through them. You just extract all the websites. For every single website, you just do an HTTP request. And for every single HTTP request, you just scrape anything that looks like an email address. So you get the @ symbol, you get the thing after, you get the thing before, and then boom, you now have like thousands, if not tens of thousands of emails for the cost of like a few cents. Totally doable. But yeah, anytime you have something that's really easy, the barrier to entry is obviously lower. A lot of other people are doing it, and you kind of have to contend with that. I'm just going to look at my face for a second because I'm on the banking app, and I was waiting for them. Okay, thank you, page. I'm going to go back here. Then show you all my face again. Well, actually, let me delete all of that very private customer data, shall we? Okay, cool. So I'm now at 15 minutes. I'm going to transition over to brand stats, and then I'll do some daily strategy as well. Just run you guys through what I've done over the course of the last little bit. Looks like, unfortunately, Instagram is not cooperating again. Let me see if it's past the time that I could use my Instagram without being yelled at. I can. I run a blocker on this stuff just to avoid me from looking at it. Looks like I'm at 170,512 followers. So I'm going to go all the way to my spreadsheet, drag this down a bit, and I'll say 170,512. My main channel was at 112,217. So we'll move that over here. That's almost 900. Fantastic. Good for somebody that's not posting at all, huh? That's not my channel. This is my daily updates channel. And then that's 5,738. Cool. So what sort of data can we get from this? Well, Instagram's blown the hell up right now. That's kind of funny given what I'm about to tell you. This is doing reasonably well. Okay. So yeah, okay, not that bad. Now it is a little bit later than I normally do these, 6 p.m. So how much of this do you want to chalk up just to like numbers? I don't know, probably a fair bit. But okay, cool. Let me fill you in on what happened today. So my Instagram account got hacked twice. Yeah, we had 2 of our Instagram accounts get hacked, unfortunately. So that kind of sucked. That was a big pain in the ass and got me kind of worried, honestly, just about like data security and privacy in general, because, anybody that's watched my stuff for more than 5 minutes will know that I'm not exactly the most private individual. Yeah, probably on like the privacy spectrum, where this is like running around naked in a street, and then this is like, Department of Defense, Black Ops, CIA, OPSEC. I'm like 90% of the way over to like naked running around on the street flailing my nipples. So yeah, I figured it was just a matter of time before that caught up to me, and it did today. So that's what happened. What's so fascinating to me is back in the day when you got hacked, that was it. It was game over. You got hacked. It was game over. The guy changed your passwords, changed everything. Like think about playing RuneScape and dropping your armor, that armor's gone, man. Like nobody's getting you that armor back. You screwed up. So when I found out that I'd been hacked, the email on the account was different. So the recovery emails weren't working. I was just like, oh, well, I guess there goes the whole Instagram. So I had this little moment. It wasn't a moment of panic, which is interesting. I really didn't really affect me that viscerally, but it was a moment of like, that's unfortunate. The Instagram account's gone. Shucks. I really like that. I really enjoyed having an Instagram account. But yeah, anyway, what happened right after that is, I was just like, forgot my password. And it's like, oh, did somebody just try accessing your account that isn't you? And I was like, yeah, that's right. And they're like, oh, okay, well, here's your password reset button. Just reset your password. And I was like, that's it? I reset my password. The second account was not as easy. I don't know, I guess because it just wasn't that big. And I think when you're big enough on Instagram, like they actually do prioritize, they know that this sort of stuff happens to you. So they try and prioritize your security or whatever. They probably have a bunch more fingerprinting that they like level you up to. But for my second account, which was much smaller, just 2,000 followers, that didn't work. So I actually had to record like a video selfie of my face, which was super wild. And then they matched that up to the photos of me, which is crazy. So I guess they use their photo AI or something. Still, such a different landscape now than it used to be just a few years ago. So very grateful for that. It's extraordinary that I got hacked, and then literally within a couple of hours of me getting hacked, I was totally okay. Yeah, so I guess that's that. So that's one thing that happened. The other thing that happened is my community manager departed today. Technically, he stopped doing the work like a week ago, but I didn't really know. I just wasn't really paying attention. So I followed up with him and I was like, hey, man, are you good to do, like these calls that he was scheduled to do? And then he's like, oh, geez, man, I'm really sorry. I thought you knew that I wasn't going to be around anymore because the billing periods and stuff like that. So I apologized to him for not checking in. He apologized to me. It's fine. We're good for it. But I had a little bit of a mad scramble there where I was like, oh, shit, yeah, I have to sort this out because the call's in 24 hours. What I ended up doing was I ended up scrapping that call, which was the agency hot seat and Maker School, and then I'm just doing a weekly community call instead, where you just get to chat to me, basically. So yeah, I think that's a better way of doing things because I have the same thing in Make Money with Make, where I do a weekly community call and an office hour. But I just want to always make sure that Make Money with Make is the community that you're in because you get more access to me, which is obviously the ideal. You like me, you enjoy my character, and enjoy me yapping. So that makes sense, and it's more money, of course. While also still allowing people that haven't been in the community for more than a month to chat with me. Because otherwise, yeah, if you miss like one of those community calls, basically game over, right? So yeah, that's what I did to pivot from that, and I thought that was pretty cool. I think you could have seen that as holy shit, I have to do this thing. Oh my god, and then I would have had to rush to find somebody and would have been pain in the ass. But then I was just like, you know what, I can see this as an opportunity. I had to make that transition eventually. I might as well now. Quite honestly, it's absurd that I could be number one on the school games, number one on the school leaderboard, like over $100,000 in MRR or something like that in the last month or quarter, sorry, and then only do one call a month. Like that's actually kind of ludicrous. Most other communities are doing like 8 calls a month, and I'm doing one, and then I'm making more money than all of them combined, which is crazy. So, yeah, obviously unrealistic for me to continue doing that forever, but that's okay. I actually much prefer the weekly call. So that happened today. What else happened? I get a lot of inquiries about Maker School and Make Money with Make on a few platforms. So yeah, as you guys probably know, with the Instagram, I'm running like this big ManyChat funnel, which is pretty sick. ManyChat's like an automation platform where you could say, hey, comment, template, and then I will DM you the template. So if somebody comments template in your Instagram post, ManyChat picks that up, and then it allows you to automate the process of sending them that template. And then you can get them to do things, right? Sign up to this page or follow me or whatever. Like there's a million different things that ManyChat can help you do. But the thing is, when you have that much engagement, that much volume going in and out of your account, there's a lot of opportunities. You tend to like have a crazy surface area. So I just typed Maker School into my ManyChat DM thing, and then I realized that there were like 200 people that were like, hey man, I want to join Maker School. I just have one tiny question. Insert tiny question here. Let me know and then I'll join. And then I was just sleeping on that, and I just did not respond to any of them. So yeah, I want to have a way where I could like provide people that value, but quite frankly, I just can't really deal with that level of outreach and volume on the Instagram. So I'm going to hire somebody on to help me with that. They're going to probably take like a custom GPT of me and the program to, get like the data if they don't know exactly what the answer to the specific question is, and then answer it. We have in the ManyChat sequence, it says like, hey, do you have a question? If so, answer, and somebody from my team will get back to you. So they'll ask the question, and then somebody from my team will just like, fill in the blanks, give them some answers or whatever. I think this will help. Like I was doing the math, if I have like 50 people a month that ask me, which I think is reasonable. And we convert half of those. I mean, think about it. It's 25 times like almost $200 a month, right? It's like another $5,000 a month, recurring with an average churn of 5 months. That's quite a lot. That's quite a lot. That's, $25,000 a month that I'm saying no to right now. And that's just on the Instagram, by the way. That's not accounting for all the other things that I have. But I'm just going to start small, and then I'll worry about all that other stuff later. So that's one big thing. Yeah, unfortunately, I wasn't able to do much in the way of video recording today. I did record a 6-hour, well, I didn't record the whole 6 hours. It's a recut or a repurpose, but I recorded a bunch of like CTA and intro and conclusion stuff for a big course yesterday. So that's going to be fun to launch. I've now been off my YouTube game, I think, for like 4 or 5 days. I'm not going to lie. It's kind of weird. I'm not publishing on YouTube every day. I'm still not entirely sure if it's like the best thing to do. I just had such tremendous growth, but whatever. I'll let it happen for a bit, not the end of the world for me not to post for like a week. I figure when I do end up posting again on the main YouTube though, it is going to pop off because there's going to be that whole like return of the king phenomenon, which people tend to really like on YouTube. So I should see a big subscriber bump, assuming the content I drop isn't absolute shit. Fingers crossed. And then what else? Yeah, I just really went through my to-do list today and had like 1,000,001 things. I sorted out a bunch of accounting, which was nice. Like one big thing that I tend to fall prey to because I break fast and move things is I don't really have all my T's crossed and my I's dotted, right? So obviously that's very true in the accounting side of things as well. So I got to catch up on a bunch of accounting mishaps that I had done over the course of the last year or so. Just because, The income is just so freaking crazy. But now accounting is actually like a sizable lever that I could pull. Previously, it was just, oh, how do I make more money? Not how do I save a tiny bit of my money? Now it's like, oh, okay, like this is, if I make a tax optimization of 5%, that's actually a very, very sizable sum. So let me look into ways to do that. And yeah, guys, that's more or less where I'm at this week. Hopefully you guys appreciate this. I launched the WAP Creator Reward. So if you guys are video editors, you guys want to like, I don't know, make some extra money or maybe get into some sort of affiliate setup with me, then definitely go check out my WAP Creator Reward. Just like type Nick Saraev and WAP and you'll find it. It starts at the standard and then it moves up to the premium. That's pretty cool because what I do is I sort of gatekeep the affiliate stuff where like if you're in standard, you get $1.50 per 1,000 views in the content that you create. And then if you are good, then we'll elevate you to premium. You'll get $2.50 per 1,000 views. And then I'm also going to give you 20% of any Maker School signups you get, which I think is crazy. And in that way, we're going to make sure that like we get mostly high quality content pointing to Maker School, not like trash content like Subway Surfer stuff. But yeah, it was really cool to get that. We got like an educational video out. Yeah, I mean, things are going pretty well, all things considered. So yeah, to make a long story short, I am now the solo manager of Maker School. I was always the most active person in the community, but I'm literally now just managing a almost 3,000 person group. Isn't that crazy? Most other people have whole teams, and I did it in exactly I do it in the 24 hours that I have available to me. Huh? That's nuts. Okay, I'll call it there. Thanks so much for watching. If you guys have any questions you guys want answered, more than happy to do so at the beginning of the videos as per usual. And if you're the one who hacked me, screw you. I'm coming for your ass.